Imagine how short this would be if Vegeta went with them.
Oh, there's so many more dead people, or at least in the hospital.
The body count would be up there, yeah.
Step into the grand tour of Dragon Ball GT!
FS. Our grand tour continues, episodes 4 and 5, as I affectionately refer to, the Chronicles of Rict. Oh, the real man.
This dude's cool.
He's the real one.
I remember this dude, actually. This dude's cool.
Not really he's an antagonistic force, but kind of like the first character we see of any actual substance.
I mean, yeah, these are the first episodes with an actual fight, like a traditional
like
fight.
it's
like we had like Pon beating up those dudes in episode 1.
Yeah, this entire thing has kind of like led to it led to a lot of questions sitting on the couch, specifically in terms of like technique and physics. What happens is, they're still on super capitalist planet.
Yeah.
Their ship essentially got impounded because nobody on that planet's allowed to own a spaceship or else everybody would leave and then they couldn't collect taxes.
Yeah, so apparently, if you land on that planet, you're signed into a contract basically for life, and it means you can't leave, and they will like basically take away your ability to get out and then
scrap your ship
and bleed you dry through capitalism.
If we ever did anything with that scene, I know you would have edited that to say boobies.
I'm not that predictable. Although it would be funny if I just flipped it upside down. Look how this says boobies now.
And now if you flip it upside down,
it says boobies.
It at least made sense out of the fact that these strange creatures showed up on the planet and everybody was didn't freak out about it. It's like, oh, okay, I guess they're used to this.
Yeah. It seems like aliens landing on the planet and then again being bled dry seems to just be a thing that regularly happens.
And in these 2 episodes, we actually get introduced to a bunch of different races that happen to be on this planet. Like the first episode or so that we saw of this arc,
it kind of felt
it was just the one kind of group of weird little, catfish kind of people.
But it seems like there's a lot of different races working under the main character. Oh, what was his name?
Donkia.
Yeah, Donkia. Yeah.
Where now there's a bunch of animal people on that planet, mostly in the police force, I guess. And then an anti-popo woman who is just pure white. I think she might be related to Krillin. She doesn't have a nose.
I mean, neither does Popo.
True. I never considered this. And her diminutive wrestling-looking buddy, I think his name was Gel. I don't think she got a name.
Gel. It's Gel and something, and I can't remember.
They really were nothing characters. Absolute toadies.
Yes.
Doing nothing.
And you can tell by the fact that in a show that already has some questionable character designs, theirs are genuinely bad.
Also, some of the worst music I've heard. In terms of when you said you wanted to watch this version, you're like, oh, some of the music and some of this, and I'm sitting here like, motherfucker, what?
Look, I will take this over the monotony of the dub score. The dub score is literally just.
Yeah, but some of this stuff was genuinely offensive to the ear.
Yeah, no, you're right. You are at least right in that some of it is obnoxious.
This is my first time with a MIDI keyboard level shit. Yeah, this music's very hit or miss.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fuck is this? This is some shit that I'd hear in a Mystery Science Theater 3000 movie about I think it was Merlin's Mystical Shop of Wonder or something like that. It reminds me of those fucking MIDI tunes in that movie.
That's because this was actually the composer's first anime. And you're somebody who I know, while you aren't in love with, say, Shunsuke Kikuchi's score from Dragon Ball Z, I know, I
can appreciate it.
Yeah. There's no music in there that I think that you would be like, this is offensive. Yeah. This stuff is not great. And I knew it wasn't going to be. But again, I was like, I want the proper experience of the show. And, this is proper.
We're getting it. I kind of like the lighting there, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, not all of this show looks like... The show's a mixed bag in terms of its visuals.
dum, 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 dum. This is some Final Fantasy-ass sneaking music.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of, I think it's Akihiko Nobunaga. I always forget the composer for GT, mostly because I forget the music from GT. I can't believe they gave the sequel series to Dragon Ball Z, they gave, the composer is just a no-name, basically.
I think they were counting on the fact that it's Dragon Ball to carry it, and it's like, we can try out some new talent here. Like, there's very little chance we're gonna lose money on this. I don't even remember Rict. I remember seeing him maybe on like a DVD box cover at one point in time, because I guess we got a release with these episodes in it at some point.
Yeah, we did.
I have never seen him in the show.
Yeah, we got the lost episodes way back in the day, and then when the green boxes started coming out, the green bricks, then they just had the entire show on them. So the entire series has been widely available for a while, and I think most people who have seen all of GT have seen those original episodes. Again, it is so funny that you haven't, and I've only seen them once, and I basically skimmed them when I was a kid. I was like, whatever. These are like the worst episodes of GT, is what I remember.
And it really does lead to some of the frustrations while watching this, because they kind of forget a lot of things. Like, one of Goku's first thoughts is to, track the ship by instant transmission. And I immediately thought, wait a minute, doesn't he need to be able to sense it to do that? And then he does it, but they end up in the air and then they fall down.
I'm going to assume the key that he's following is the people that are driving that thing.
That makes sense.
It must be that he sensed those people and is like, okay, at least I got those signatures.
Might be giving it too much credit, but I'll buy it.
ドラゴンボールで若返った影響で悟空さん瞬間移動ができなくなってしまったんだ
That's not how that works. Well, unless it's possible that his body had to muscle memory, where you have to sort of build it into your body, but I don't know.
Reflexes. Also, they forgot how to fly.
They always do. Which, okay, but he can go Super Saiyan. He can still do that. And apparently he's still stronger than both Trunks and Pan.
We see him go Super Saiyan for the first time.
How much energy, how did his battle power get affected by this? I want to know, because they aged him down, and yet he's, again, still stronger than Trunks and Pan.
Remember, a lot of it has to do with technique more than it does actual strength and power. So deal with it. But speaking of technique, they forgot how to fly.
Yeah, it is insane to me throughout both of these episodes. There are several instances where flying is not only beneficial, but even kind of necessary, and they don't do it.
Like, they're running from the police already. Lots of questions.
It's the opening song from Aladdin is suddenly playing, and I'm like, why are we running across the rooftops? Just fly.
Again, he forgot to fly.
People can fly.
Why have they forgotten?
Just fly.
And it just left me thinking how much shorter this entire arc would have been if any other character had traveled with them.
Oh, yeah. You mentioned if it were Vegeta.
Oh, the body count would, be endless. If Vegeta was there, it's like, what the fuck? Proof! Go get the parts!
Yeah.
Vegeta's probably the most well-versed in intergalactic politics.
Vegeta would have just flown up to Dunkia's castle and then blew it the fuck up.
Yeah, imagine.
It would be gone immediately.
With how quickly Goku dispatched of Rict after going Super Saiyan. He just slapped his shit. And admittedly, he has some pretty cool techniques. He's pulling swords and spears out of his shoulder and stuff. Very reminiscent of Dead Zone.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's got another sword. Oh, spear this time. Okay. This guy could have had a really coul moveset in a game.
I like this guy. He's
he
cool.
Makes swords, and yet he's never appeared in a video game.
Yeah, unfortunately, when it comes to GT, the only villains that anyone cares about from GT in terms of because we've had Tenkaichi 3, and we've had Xenoverse 2, these games with these expanded character selections.
Yeah, did you see the latest trailer for Sparking Zero?
Yeah, it's indicating that
you can see that there's going to be a pretty massive, there's a pretty large hexagonal character select screen that they're implying that they might fill up.
I don't think that's the character select screen, but I do think it is going to be a representation of what all the characters will be in there.
Yeah.
Whatever character select screen they come up with is going to have to be way more streamlined than that, because oh my god. But to that point, Yeah, like Rict is actually a really fun villain in this episode. I genuinely antagonist. He's not a villain. He's actually kind of a decent guy.
He's one of those he's almost a proto-hit in a sort of way, where it's just like he's professional and he fights on his own terms.
Yeah, I found that we both had the same feeling. Although that's also because Hit's sort of generic.
He's also one of the best things that Super introduced. So.
I mean, largely just because they do cool stuff with that generic character.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rict. No one cares about the GT. The only GT characters like the games care about are
Baby, Omega Shenron, and maybe some of
Super 17. Basically, just the main villains.
Maybe Ice and Nova.
Yeah. Anyway, Rict, cool. Everything else.
But he's also kind of nothing. Like he shows up and he instantly recognizes that Goku's a Saiyan, which
How?
To be fair, galactic race known for conquest. Maybe there is legends out there.
Does he even have his tail? Like, I feel like you at least need to have the monkey tail to give.
Maybe they've never seen anybody else that's humanoid. Maybe they don't know humans exist.
Maybe they're only familiar with the Saiyajin.
I mean, that makes Raccoon kind of hard to explain, but I can buy that. Like, maybe there aren't a whole lot of humanoid races out there with that kind of hair.
It was the hair.
Probably the hair, honestly.
It could have been the hair, actually.
Like, we don't know how old he is. We don't know what kind of legends space has about Saiyans, but we know that Saiyans are known galactic conquerors. So.
It would be really. I kind of wish they'd had a thing where it's like, no, Saiyans took my planet. Yeah, what do you think I'm here?
You know what? That would have been an interesting wrinkle to his character. Like I want to fight you because what if Bardock was the one that ripped off his people, like somebody with your hair, you know?
That would have been kind of cute. I
give him a little bit of pathos.
Yeah. What if he, as a kid, like Bardock and his crew, destroyed most of his planet and sold it, and that's why he's on.
Yeah, and he's like a soul survivor, and he's on this revenge kick. I mean, then you're kind of eating some of the Tuffle's lunch, but.
Oh, the Tuffle's lunch is shared by many.
Yeah.
By the way, sorry, we're kind of just doing our own fanfic over here, but.
I'm still sitting here thinking man, this would have been a much better show if Piccolo was there, but. Hijinks ensued.
Hijinks ensues is the entire first 16 episodes of this show.
I can appreciate that.
Oh, I do want to talk about a little bit more about Pun.
Yeah, no, she became insufferable these couple of episodes.
So she goes up and down. She fluctuates more than any of the other characters in terms of her likability. In fact, generally, she goes from most likable character in the cast to least likable character in the cast, depending on the scene. In one scene, she's like, we're gonna go beat this motherfucker up. I'm sick of this. And I'm like, yes, Pun.
Yeah,
slay queen.
Yeah, seize the mean of production, queen.
Yes.
Punch.
No, fucking yeah.
Man, we aren't here to start a revolution.
I mean, it would get things done much quicker. And then on the other hand, she gets hit in the head with an empty can and starts crying. Which, look, I get it. She's a kid. I understand. She's not any kid.
But she's also a preteen.
Yeah,
first of all, she's old enough to not, she's not 4.
Oh, they might be different species, actually. No.
Bullshit.
No.
Bullshit.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Bullshit.
Come on. You really?
That's some next level bullshittery. She was fighting people with guns in the first episode. She was being fired upon. That was an empty ass aluminum can. See, that I believe would actually fuck you up a little.
Well, I don't know. Look, I could see a preteen getting hit in the head and start crying. They're emotional little people.
I guess.
They're barely people. But when it comes to Pun, the only time I want to see her crying is when she gets her heart broken because, okay, that's a wrinkle of her character. She's kind of emotionally vulnerable to that sort of thing. That would actually be really neat. She's this tough girl who kicks ass, but then when it comes to things like love or romance and stuff, she's more vulnerable. Okay, that would be sort of neat. That would be a cool way to balance out.
God help the first boy that breaks her heart.
Oh yeah, no, that man, it's almost going to be unfair. He's going to have to find a way, I don't want to die. I have to figure out a way to break up with her without dying. And I knew this was going to happen because I know there are so many pawn defenders out there like who say, oh, but she's actually really neat and interesting, and she's like, yeah,
she has her moments.
She does have her moments, but like also. Like I kind of get it. She kind of treats Giru like he's not a person, and we barely. Also,
I mean, he's not a person; he's a robot. It doesn't have a soul.
You know what's really weird to me? We're introduced to Giru at the end of episode 3, right?
Yeah, he's nowhere in episode 4 except in a backpack.
Yeah, and he kind of shows up, and then it isn't until the end of episode 5 that we get a moment with him to find out what his purpose in the show is going to be, and it's weird. They're just kind of carrying him around, and he's barely a part of the process.
We see that he can track things around him, like he has one of those alien sort of bio trackers, because it's like danger, danger approaching from inside the bag, and then they avoid the police that way.
Yeah, by the way, Trunks, we don't even see Trunks realizing that's happened. He just kind of shouts out to them like, oh, hey, we need to hide.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of visual stuff.
It felt like it was cut in after the fact. Maybe?
Yeah, like there was a shot where he's like looking at Giru that's just sort of missing. It's really weird and awkward.
Because he's in the bag in the shot too.
Right.
Like he's just in there in that insanely spacious yet compact bag.
Yeah.
They introduce him, but he's still not a character yet.
No, I'm sure he'll become more of a character.
Well, of course he does.
Forward.
I remember he does.
Yeah. Yeah, Giru's interesting, but like weirdly used in these 2 episodes. Pan is super inconsistent. We have no idea what Goku's actual power level is right now, considering that he's apparently.
We don't know the power scale of anybody, and honestly, that. Blessing and curse?
Blessing
because
and curse.
It's like, you reset the scale. We don't need like, oh, his power level's like 27 billion.
Yeah, but no, look, I just need to know where he stands because not knowing that right now is a little weird.
He could probably still destroy a planet if he wanted to.
I'm going to
if he had the inclination.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume as much.
And he outright jobs the shit out of Rict.
In a cool fight.
It's all right. Yeah, like there's some neat moments. It's really short.
Yeah, it is.
It takes up like 3 minutes in a 20-some minute episode.
I'll say this. The fight would have been cooler without the cutting to other things.
Probably.
Like it is frustrating because there are these really cool moments, but then this is one of the things that I sort of hate about anime fights in general is that often when you're trying to allow the actual action to play out, there are these cutaways that it's like momentum, boom, hit a fucking wall. And it's like, please stop putting walls in the middle of your action. I'm trying to enjoy the cool fight. And there's a ton of that in GT so far, like this specific fight.
Yeah, there are so many shows that do that poorly. Like Jujutsu Kaisen is one of the only shows that I think does it insanely well.
Because the way that it usually like its walls are more like on ramps. Like now we're transitioning the fight to this, or we're introducing a new element. It's rarely ever. Oh, we're just going to cut in with somebody watching and being like, oh my god.
Yeah.
ごめんなさい。僕が間違ってました。
I was wrong. Capitalism is evil.
今何でもって言ったわね。
I'll do anything. Embrace communism. No!
Honestly, like these were kind of boring. I won't
The
lie.
first one especially, like I feel like I was yawning and just like tuning my beard through most of it, just like something gonna happen here. Like they spend the entirety of episode 4 essentially just evading the police, and then they finally just decide, why don't we just turn ourselves in? What are they gonna do?
Yeah, well, and this is after. So the interesting thing is they talk to some of the inhabitants, and the inhabitants are like, the guy running this place fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Which, did you need to be told that?
Look, it's a show for babies.
Yeah, I know.
You said it.
Well, it is. I like literally when we were watching, all I could say was, this show is for children, little children. Its politics mean nothing.
Its politics need to be put on it needs to be put directly on the plate and pointed at to be told, like, this is what we're talking about, children.
Yes, I'm sure there's some social commentary in there though. It feels like there's got to be some.
Are you kidding me? The entire thing is just the concept of this is what happens when hyper-capitalization goes too far under a dictatorship.
Which Japan's never had a problem with ever.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely not. Everything's great. The world isn't devolving. Tackling that sort of a message is, novel, interesting, but as a Dragon Ball thing, it's very boring.
As a Dragon Ball thing, it's ill-equipped.
The first episode where they're just like being overcharged for shit. It's like, okay, you got your message across. The robot's literally tearing the people's house apart. But then you have like an entire second episode where it's like, man, this planet's really, not doing so great. Oh, look at these poor people.
Why?
They gave us the last of their food.
I can't believe this was a 3-parter.
I expected Rict, or at least his little minions, to be a little bit more of a part of stuff. Like, especially when we saw them, like, fire energy blast. I'm like, oh, okay, Trunks and Pan are gonna have something going on, then Goku's gonna take the big guy, and no, they get jobbed off screen.
Yeah. No. It's so weird. The pacing is slow yet too fast.
Yeah.
It's incredible to me that you have these moments where it's like, oh shoot, are we finally gonna get some fights? Nope, skipped over that. We had to make sure that you had the scene with them in the house with the old man and the old woman, and so they could reiterate to you just how screwed up the planet is, like it wasn't very obviously communicated to you in the last scene with the old man and the old woman.
It's a case of telling too much. The first episode was enough to get across the point that the planet was just a hyper-greedy, mega-capitalist planet. The second episode should have been, them dealing with the police force, and then maybe the third episode being the climax. I can deal with that being a 3-parter.
It honestly could have been a 2-parter.
It could have been, easily, very easily.
But yeah, no, it's still not bad. I mean...
No, it's far from, like, the worst.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to moving on from here, though, because... Oh, wait, no, I don't know if I am. If I remember correctly, so...
Oh, don't spoil it for me.
No, yeah, I don't want to spoil. How did the show fail when it had an opening song this fun?
Oh, I guess we'll find out. Wait, did it fail, or is it
it failed.
Really? Like,
Yeah.
even in Japan?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, so the bigger problem...
I guess that makes sense, because, like, Dragon Ball just kind of died for several decades.
Yeah. I mean, like, there was a huge drought of Dragon Ball stuff. It is hilarious to watch Dragon Ball fans nowadays go on and on about the lack of Dragon Ball material that we've gotten over the last couple of years. It's like,
like, the early 2000s till...
y'all
I don't know, some weird people on the internet made a parody. Sometime after that, then Kai came out. It's weird.
Y'all don't know. Y'all do not understand what it was like to get Budokai 1 and be like, oh my god, we are
New
so
Dragon
back.
Ball. Yeah.
Like, that was it.
To be fair, Budokai 1 came out around the time when, like, the Buu saga was going on Toonami, which is why you're, like, playing through Budokai 1 and it goes through the Cell saga. It's like, I want the new stuff, though.
and remember, like, for American Dragon Ball fans, it's so different because we started getting Dragon Ball when GT was coming out. Like, we really started getting it by the time the show was over in Japan.
Yeah, the anime floodgates didn't really open here until Toonami.
But yeah, that was episodes 4 and 5. As you said, the Chronicles of Rict, which A+.
They make it seem like he's going to show up again, but I don't remember him in any of the material that I'd seen previously, so I kind of doubt it.
I can very comfortably say he's never coming back.
Well, goodbye, Rict.
You were cool.
You've looked like...
Also, I'm sorry, the leotard over
Okay, the costume design in this entire thing is fucking weird, let's be real. Like, the leotard over his Thriller jacket.
But I don't
with
hate
his,
it.
like, it's not awful, it's just a very interesting late 90s, or like early 90s getup. And the fact that, like, just his weird alien-ass design, which is, like Quark from Star Trek fused with a toad from Mario or some shit.
It's like, also, yeah, like, damn, bitch, what don't you hear with them ears? Like, boom.
Of course he's heard about Saiyans. And
yeah.
Yeah. How could you not? Yeah. That was that guy.
That was that guy. That was those two guys and a planet.
Yeah. 2 guys and a planet, and now we're moving galactic northward, onward into the next part of our grand tour. Next time.
On Dragon Ball GTFS.
Fucking... Yep.